Hey, this is the Superpower Radio Show with your host, Brenda Major,
Mia Dawson.
and you guys know that we are now podcasters. So
Yes.
if you are watching us on our Instagram channel, we want you to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you don't miss a minute of the information that we're going to provide for caregivers of superpower kids. And if you have a particular podcast that you listen to, I bet we're on it. Superpower Radio Show. And today we have such a sweet and wonderful and loving guest. We can't wait to get started and introduce her. And so this is Marianne Nagl. Marianne, welcome to the Superpower Radio Show.
Thank you guys so much for having me. Honestly, oh, full of emotion. Sorry.
Fun. We met Marianne at a recent event. We were at the Juneteenth fair in Westchester, Illinois, and she came up and you're gonna see, she just exudes so much love. And
Absolutely.
and you just never know how you're gonna connect with people.
Yeah.
So I honestly would not have known had you not mentioned that, hey, that you were on the spectrum, but you weren't diagnosed until you were an adult. So
Correct.
tell us what even made you get diagnosed.
So I've always been a very, very social advocate about, it started as me as a young child. I was always for juvenile diabetes because my dad had diabetes, American Heart Association because my uncle and my grandfather both had heart disease, and then my dad had it as well. And progressively through my life, I have always just learned about different things that I can help.
Okay.
And
you're a natural giver.
I am.
Your heart went out to people. Yeah.
I've always been very much trying to teach myself about different disabilities and different abilities. And there was something that was always drawn to me about the autism neighborhood. I've always been intrigued by puzzles. I've always, you see a puzzle piece, you wonder what it's about. You wonder what that piece goes to. And over the years, I have realized that there's a lot of different levels to the spectrum. And just learning about it over the years, I was like, that kind of sounds familiar. Huh? What's that about? Huh? No,
you were
not
thinking
me.
about
not
it
me.
and
support the cause, but it's not me. God, please me. So it's always been a very it's been a very different thing for me to look into and educate myself as much as telling others about it as well.
Okay.
One thing that I notice is that I always like to teach my mom about different things, different disabilities, and advocate for abilities. As far as things, autism, I taught my mom about the Trevor Project, which is LGBTQ plus. There's different things. And so when I was looking a little bit deeper into the autism world, I was just inspired to look deeper. After I met my husband, he was like, that's not normal. Like, there was just things I would do, and he was just like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, you don't have these thoughts? And he's like,
sure. I'm
not
afraid
at all
to ask, but I'm going to ask what were some of the thoughts you were having?
I can't even think off the top of my head, but it was just like, I would put on like, say, I always like to wear my husband's clothes.
Okay.
It's always been a thing. Women wear their men's clothes.
Sure. They do.
So it went as far as my husband had some long sleeve Henley shirts, the waffle print.
Okay.
And I would put it on, and within 5 minutes it was off because I couldn't put my elbows down on the table. Wow. I've always been someone that leans.
Okay.
I've always
Oh.
leaned. When I'm driving, I lean.
Hmm.
When I'm
Oh.
driving, I can't lean if I have something under my elbow.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
sensitivity there.
So I
Okay.
was like, he's like, what is your problem? Why won't you wear that shirt? He's like, I'm not going to wear it. I don't like long sleeves. So why won't you wear it? I'm like, I can't wear it because it's making an indent in my skin under my elbow. What are you talking about? I'm like, look. And it looks like it's a rash at this point because I'm rubbing and rubbing.
Yeah, trying to get it to go
Oh my
away.
God.
Wow.
But it's been something that I've dealt with my whole life. I
Mm.
hate wearing long sleeve shirts. And if you see me wearing a long sleeve shirt, it's rolled up above my elbow.
Wow.
I like long sleeves. I'm a cold person. So when I do wear long sleeves, they're always rolled.
Hmm.
Um and and my husband would be like, "Why don't you just wear a short sleeve shirt?" Because I don't like a short sleeve shirt. I want it to have sleeves.
So you want what you want, but you don't want
Yeah,
bothering your elbow.
exactly.
That is a
And
little odd.
it is. It is. So then he was like, "How come you never wear socks?"
Hmm.
I'm like,
Oh.
don't get me started on socks. I said, I hate socks. He goes, why? I was like, you know that seam at the top and how it just rubs against your toes? And you feel it. You feel it on the shoe. You feel it in your
Mhm.
sock. I don't understand it. I said, why would somebody want to wear socks? So I can tell you, I go through shoes like water at this point because I
Oh.
cannot wear socks with my shoes.
Hmm.
And my husband
Oh.
will tell me, he's like, your shoes smell. I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm not wearing socks. I can't. And if I do go as far as putting on a pair of socks,
Mm-hmm.
I have to wait to be ready to take them off. It
Wow.
could be
Oh.
anywhere from 1 to 4 days because I'm not okay with just taking them off on a whim because there's a
Oh.
climate change on my feet. I know this sounds
Oh,
bizarre.
Wow.
And I don't like it. So
wow.
in the winter, I don't like to wear boots. I don't like I walk to school every day with my kids in the wintertime.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have three
What's on your feet?
slippers.
Wow.
I wear house shoes with a hard bottom because I cannot wear like my feet, they always look like they need to be a pedicured, but it's because
Wow.
I can't wear socks.
Wow.
Wow. So those
Wow.
are the couple of things that kind of said,
Those
hey, do
were just
I
a
need to
couple things. Yeah. Those are
it
just a
kind of
couple.
said, okay.
Yeah. There was actually one shirt I was really hell bent on. I loved wearing it. And anytime I wore it, it would just mess with my elbow. And finally one day I was like, I'm never gonna wear this happily, so I'm just gonna throw it away.
Oh
I'm
my
done.
Uh-huh.
goodness.
Did
So
you have it? Were you feeling that as an adult, or did you actually remember feeling like that as a kid? Like it
As a
was
kid as
bothering you
well.
as a kid? It
As a
was.
kid as
It
well.
was too.
My
Okay.
mom my mom actually bought my cousin and I, because we were only 24 months apart.
okay.
Okay.
And so my mom bought us matching shirts. They were a wool acrylic mix. And like I said, always liked long sleeve shirts. I
Mm-hmm.
was so excited that I had a matching shirt to my cousin.
Oh,
Mm.
wow.
I put it on. First of all, I'm allergic to wool. That was when we found out.
Oh.
Oh.
Second of all, because it was an acrylic mixed with wool, the fibers were so gritty. It
Uh,
irritated me. And see, my husband always tells me, he's like, your elbows always look really ashy. Like, I'm like, you don't understand what I'm dealing with. Like, I can't put lotion on.
uh,
If I put lotion on my elbows, they slide all over the tables.
Ah,
You can't.
ah,
cleaner. Yeah. Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
there's so many different things that I can't fathom.
okay.
Marianne, was your mom picking up on anything when you were younger or, or
So my mom is a baby boomer.
Mhm.
Um, she was born in 1960 and she was not aware of the social stigmas. She was not
Uh,
aware of mental illnesses. She was not aware of different disabilities as such.
Okay.
When I was in 5th grade, they diagnosed me with ADHD.
Okay.
Well, if you have ADHD and you get medicated, normally it's supposed to help it.
Okay.
But if you're medicated and you don't have ADHD, you're going to feed another monster rolling around in that person's head.
Wow.
Yep, you're right.
Sure enough.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
We
ma'am.
fed into depression.
Yeah. I could see
Wow.
that. Yeah.
I've experienced a lot of loss in my life, and that's
Okay.
one thing that I can say is near and dear to me. Any type of personal connections that I make to people,
Yeah.
I cherish those.
Okay.
And I can not talk to you for 10 years and still think about you. Whether I want to or not, it still happens.
Okay.
One thing that I will say is over the years of me listening to the different things about the autism spectrum,
Yeah.
I was like, maybe I should just look into this. So when I was 31, I finally was like, you know what? I'm just going to go out on a limb. I'm going to go see where I can get tested.
Okay.
I was like, okay, well, first of all, I was breastfeeding. So I was like, all right, great. I'm going to have to go sit in a room with somebody for 4 hours and not breastfeed at that time. I can't really, we'll see what happens. So I go and they asked me, do you feel like you resonate with patterns? I said, patterns? Of course. I said, I used to make extensions. I used to make hair extensions when I was a kid.
Okay.
Oh.
And I would just do it out of beads, and elastic and,
Yeah.
the 90s crap.
Yeah.
It was always that I had to wear a pink, purple, and blue or an orange, yellow, green. There were no other color variations. My life has always had to have the balance. If you have a yellow nail on this side, you have to have a yellow nail on that side. You have to have complete symmetry.
Gotcha.
That's the only way that my life functions. Like right now, I can tell you it's driving me nuts that I have 3 kids and there's 2 boys and 1 girl.
Uh-oh.
It's driving me
Gotta make
nuts.
another baby.
I'm telling you, if
And it better be a girl.
if I could afford it, I'd be like, yeah, let's do this. But I'm not there yet. And with them being as young as that, nope. But my life has always been symmetry.
Okay. Okay.
And I don't know what it is, but those 2 patterns have always lived in my brain.
So they asked you questions about like patterns and 'cause I was always wondering, what the tests were that used.
So they did that test and then they had me solving like little riddles and putting things in lines, and the ways that I was doing it was very complex to what they would think to do. Now, one thing that's kind of like a party trick for me, and I say this very loosely, obviously we're in a different world where genders are not a thing anymore, or they're becoming less and less of a thing. Unfortunately, my whole life, everything in my brain has had a gender. And when I say everything has a gender, it doesn't have to do with, oh, Chloe the glass or anything like that. No, not at all. A glass is a female object. The word object itself is a male word. And I don't understand it. I never have. I can't explain it to anybody. But people can just sit there and ask me, so what is this? What is this?
I was going to ask you, and I'm
So
going to.
Go ahead.
Like what would a toothbrush be to you?
A toothbrush is a boy.
Toothbrush is a boy. So what's a table?
Table's a boy.
Wow.
And I gotta say, from what I can tell, the world is very manly.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. I
Okay.
mean,
Can you
Oh.
tell me something that's a girl, like another object that's a girl? What would be a girl
a
in your mind?
chandelier.
A chandelier. And I
Oh,
could see that.
I
I could
can
see
see
that.
that.
A
I can see.
chandelier, a dress, a skirt, though, is a boy.
Hmm.
Why?
I don't know.
You don't know. Okay.
I
Okay.
honestly just don't know.
Okay.
So that
I mean,
obviously kind of affects how you look at the world then.
yeah.
Yes, it does.
Very different.
Wow.
Yeah, very different.
That's really interesting. Oh,
Yeah.
I like that it's interesting. I like that.
Yeah.
So Marianne, after you got the diagnosis, what was your
Nothing changed.
okay? What was your reaction? Were you like, okay?
I was just like, yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. That explains a lot now. Um, so one thing that I don't like to talk about it, but
Mm,
unfortunately it is something that has made its way into my life.
okay.
Um, when I went to high school, I went to St. Joe's High School.
Okay.
Okay.
Predominantly, it was a Catholic school.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay. They chose to say there was no religion. It was anybody could be there. That's fine.
Okay. Okay.
One thing that I can say is I didn't fit there.
Mm.
Oh.
I didn't fit there simply because the way that I learned wasn't enough for them.
Hmm.
Oh.
They said that I was failing so many classes. The only thing that could help is that I would have to go into study halls and I had to do my homework in study halls because otherwise I wasn't getting it turned in. The
Mm.
problem is that with how I learn,
Mm-hmm.
when I am learning,
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
say I'm reading something, I
Okay.
have to read it and I have to say it out loud. But the biggest thing to help me comprehend it is to have somebody read it with me while I'm reading it or read it to me while
Oh.
I'm
Oh.
reading.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
It is
Okay.
very complex.
Okay.
So, St. Joe's said, we're going to have to ask you to leave. Now, mind you,
Oh.
I got a scholarship when I got there.
Hmm.
I got a
Um,
91% on my entrance exam.
oh.
Um, with my 91%, it gave me a scholarship, and I was like, yeah, but I didn't try.
Mm.
Mm.
You know
So
what?
then I was like, okay. But then as I went through school, it was like, we just can't help you. We're sorry.
So what just
Um,
occurred to me too is because you hadn't been diagnosed, so you wouldn't have had an
Yeah.
IEP, any kind of a specialized program that addresses
private schools do not honor
They don't do that.
IEPs.
They don't honor IEPs. Yeah, they don't. They
So
don't honor
you're
IEPs.
right.
Yep.
You were
You're
in the
right.
wrong place.
Yep. They don't honor it.
So
Oh.
then I was basically still a sophomore, or no, I was
Mm-hmm.
still a freshman in what would have been my sophomore year.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like a normal 16-year-old girl. I ran away with a boyfriend.
Uh,
Of course. Why wouldn't I? Um, long story short, came home and had to enroll in public school. I went to
Mm.
Proviso West.
Okay.
okay. Okay.
I went there for a couple weeks and it was a long couple weeks, I gotta say that much. Unfortunately, Proviso West is not a friendly place for
Mhm.
somebody with disabilities, for somebody
Mm.
with trauma. Um,
Mm.
by the time that I was in public school, I was also um without a father.
Oh.
He
Ah.
passed away when I was 15.
Oh. So
Oh, wow.
Um,
that's
just a month shy of me turning 16. Actually, it was just the 17-year anniversary last week.
oh my.
Ah.
So, and yes, anniversaries are a very big part of my life.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay.
So I ended up going through public school for a little bit, and there was one guy, and he was my counselor. And he goes, honey, you don't belong here. He's like, you actually want to learn.
Huh. Wow.
First
Wow.
of all, you're going to tell me I don't belong because I want to learn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Second of all, it also had to do with demographics.
Sure.
Proviso West, I was one of 4 white students.
Wow.
And he's like, you just don't belong.
Hmm.
And I had several teachers tell me this.
Mhm.
And I had an ex, like I said, the one I ran away with, he was going to school there. And so if he got out of class early, I would ditch class. I didn't want to stay,
Yeah.
you know? So then everything happens. I end up going to a special education school. It's called Acacia Academy.
Mm.
And when I went there, I met a lot of people with autism, gender dysmorphia,
Mhm.
Asperger's, when it was a word that was a definition. Obviously now it's no longer because it's a bad word, unfortunately.
A lot of people just add it to the spectrum now, but
Exactly. It's level
Yeah.
1 autism. So I ended up going there, and they didn't even diagnose me with autism when I was there.
Wow.
But that's
Wow.
because I was able to mask
You were
so well.
Mm.
And that's the thing, is when I was at Proviso West, I was able to mask. When I
Okay.
had my mask on, I made the friends. Had no problem. Nobody knew. I was able to fit in with the right crowd. I mean, I was sitting with the ROTC kids. I had nothing in common with them.
Wow.
But you know what? I was able to get through a conversation. No problem. Masking. And I've always been good at masking. I always called it my adaptive behaviors.
Okay.
But later on is when I found out it was just masking. And so for a long time, I was like, wait a minute. I've been masking for so long. I don't know who I am.
Well, there's that. Yeah.
And exactly.
Wow.
And so
How did you, what did you do? What was, I mean,
I didn't have hobbies.
okay.
I didn't know how to have a hobby. I mean, I had my phone was always attached to me. I always had music. There were a lot of times where I would try to run away. I mean, I was a self-harmer. I did self-harming. I tried to fit in, and there was just a lot of things that I thought was me, but it wasn't me.
Wow.
You were trying to find your connection to something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, I'm still trying to find it.
Wow.
Really? You still don't feel like you found a connection?
Wow.
Really?
Do you know other adults on the spectrum? I mean, it may be difficult because everybody's masking.
Well, that's the thing, is like, I can walk into a room and nobody knows that I'm on the spectrum.
Right.
And but I'll say things that are kind of off the wall, and people will be like, she's weird. One thing I will say is I had a very bad anxiety attack when I was in 7th grade. And I felt like an outsider. I felt like I was unheard. And
is that when the self-harming started too?
Yeah. Yep. I actually plucked my eyebrows off completely. Couldn't feel it. Essentially later on, I realized it was a very, very hard anxiety stim. you're going to see me motion with my hands a lot in this video call only because I'm not stimming right now.
Okay.
One thing that I do is I constantly pick at my head. Constantly.
Okay.
Drives my husband nuts.
Hmm.
He's like, you look psycho. I'm sorry. I can't help it. Just happened. And I can just be completely unconscious that I'm doing it.
Right. I get that.
Yeah. And so yeah, I mean, there's so many things that I would do in a public setting, and people would be like, what the
What's wrong
hell?
with you? Yeah.
What's wrong with you? Yeah, exactly. And people weren't sure if it was because I had lost my dad. Maybe I felt socially awkward because of that.
I see.
I lost my dad very unexpectedly.
Okay.
I was, like I said, 15. He passed away on a Thursday. The Sunday prior, my mom and I were coming back from my brother's house in Justice. She was like, all right, Mare, we're gonna go home, but on the way home, we're gonna go get some gallon of milk. I'm like, no, Mom, we can't go home. Or I said, we can't go to the store. We have to go home. I said, something's wrong. I said, I don't know what it is, but I feel uneasy. There's something wrong. We got to get home.
Wow.
So I hurry up, and we're like 4 minutes from home. So we get home, and my mom, she is parking the car, and I'm opening the garage door to go in the service door. Our house was attached to our garage.
Okay.
So I open up the door, and my dad is on the floor seizing.
Oh my. You sensed that.
You sensed that. You sensed it. Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
My dad had a low blood sugar. At that point, it was at 48.
Wow.
The paramedics came. He signed the not going to the hospital paperwork.
Oh.
No, not the do not resuscitate. The against medical advice. He's not going to the hospital.
Oh.
They gave him the glucose, and he sent them on their way. That was Sunday night. That was on a Sunday night. Monday, he was fine. He went to work. On Tuesday, he took a 1.5 mile walk. He walked to my grandma's house, and then he was like, hey, can you give me a ride back? Because he didn't feel like walking anymore. Wednesday was just another normal day. Thursday was the day, though. I went to summer school. I had him come get me early. I said, I don't want to be here. Dad, just come pick me up. I always had this thing where I would fake being sick. It was a thing. I don't know. He came to pick me up, and I told him, I said, Dad, I'm going to go take a nap. I don't feel good.
Wow.
I just like to sleep a lot. That's my thing. Okay. He's like, all right, whatever, Mare. He was supposed to go at a car show that day. But he didn't go. And my mom didn't tell me too much. She just said, nah, he didn't feel like going. Okay. So I was taking my nap, and incoherently, he called me. He says, Mare, I can't see. I need your help.
Oh, my.
And I told him, all right, my famous last words were, wait, hold on, I know. And so I told him, I said, all right, give me a few minutes. I'll be in there. Don't worry. Wait. I know. I'll be there. I didn't respond. Went back to sleep. Couple hours later, my mom is blowing up my cell phone. We had my cell phone, my dad's cell phone. We had a fax line. We had 2 house phones. She blew up every line she could, trying to get a hold of me. Finally, I picked up. I said, what do you want? I'm 15. You're bugging me. I don't want any part of whatever you're about to say. You're my mom. And my mom said, I need you to go check on Dad. She said, he's been calling me and telling me every hour what his blood sugar is, and I haven't heard from him for 2 hours.
Oh.
I walked into my family room, which is where my dad was. He was laying on the couch, and he must have felt that his blood sugar was low because he was eating Jell-O and drinking a Coca-Cola. My dad never drank a Coca-Cola. First of all, he didn't like the flavor. And second of all, he knew he wasn't supposed to have it. And it had looked like he had thrown up.
Wow.
And the Jell-O was spilt over. And I said, Mom, I'm gonna have to give you a call back. I knew my mom was at work. So I told my mom, I said, I'll call you back. Let me talk to Dad. First thing I did was check his blood sugar. It was too low. And then I checked his memory, and it said it was too low. And I called the police. I knew my mom was at work, so I called her brother instead. He lived locally. And I said, I need you to get here now. And when I called 911, 911 showed up, and the guy, I mean, he's retired now, but he said, are you sure he's dead? You sure he's not asleep?
Oh.
I'm positive that my dad has no pulse, but please feel free to check.
Wow.
So that has kind of put a stamp of PTSD on me for my life.
Okay.
Wow.
And it was just another one of those things of intentional feelings. I knew I had to go home. I knew that I wasn't supposed to be at summer school. Something was going to happen. Luckily, my dad was able to drive and come pick me up. It was only a half a mile.
Right.
But
Wow.
yes.
Wow.
But that is one thing that I am extremely aware of is emotions like that.
Okay.
When it comes to like having conversations with people, I can read a person. I can read when somebody's judging me. I can read when somebody's calling bullshit on me. I can read it all. And I don't like it because I feel I'm like when I'm aware of it.
Yeah, you feel
I'm gonna
everything.
change
So
what
you
I'm
feel
saying.
it. You can feel it.
Yeah.
You feel,
Feel everything.
You feel
And
everything.
right. And at times it's like an overwhelming feeling. And you're like, whoa, hold on.
How do you
How
manage
do you deal?
it?
I was gonna say that. How do you deal with? How do you kind of calm down? How do you kind of? Is there something you can do to kind of calm it down? To kind of
I go back to somebody else that I know that I can calm down with and then go back. I'm able to like steer the conversations back and forth.
Okay.
Or I'll try to like feed with somebody else real quick and then come back.
Have you noticed any signs of autism like in your kids?
In my kids, I'm on high alert with them all the time. It drives me nuts because I don't want to be that person saying, let me stamp a label on my child.
Right.
But I have to be aware. And one thing I can say is getting an early diagnosis will help my children in the long run.
Yes.
And I'm trying to explain this to my husband because my husband has never been somebody that's in the mental health system. He claims he's normal. He's just a he's just a dark humor person.
Whatever that is.
Whatever normal is, I don't know.
Right.
I mean, I can tell you he hasn't had an anxiety pill in his life.
Okay.
For whatever reason. I mean, I've had dependency issues at times before. Like I've mentioned, self-harm,
Yeah.
in many shapes and forms, unfortunately, because you don't feel heard. But to go back to your question, yes, I do see a couple things in each of my kids.
Okay.
My middle child, for a while, he's an overzealous child.
Hmm.
And he is a very emotional child.
Okay.
So I've picked up that sometimes he has some big emotions. So
Hmm.
for a while I was like, do you have a big feeling right now? Trying to like dumb it down for
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
And my
Ah,
husband's like, don't talk to him like and I'm like, you don't understand. Like, if he needs that, I need to give him that. That
Mhm.
is my child.
Yeah.
I know that feeling.
yeah. Yep.
There were times
Yep.
before where I would randomly just bite my husband when we were dating. And he's like, why the fuck did you just do that? I'm like, I don't know. I just needed to. I just needed to bite. And it's like, you can't just bite a chew toy or something. It
Well,
needs to be fleshy.
And that calms you down. That's what's
Yes.
getting you regulate. Yeah.
mm,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
And
so is that something that you wish people would understand? Because I think even having Neo, as you know, I think I'm going to talk from a parent part, you don't want them to be embarrassed. You don't want them to be like, we were in the park yesterday, we were on vacation. And so he was stimming and he was moving back and forth. And now people are looking. Well, the thing that I don't want to happen is somebody say something and then Mama Bear is going to come out. And so I'm trying to prevent Mama Bear from coming out. And so I went to him and I was like, honey, just calm down. And he's like, Mom, you don't understand. I'm just so excited. So he was expressing that because he was excited. And so I'm like,
yep.
man, Mia, leave him alone. He's like, he's excited. He's trying to get that out. But I'm trying to calm. I want him to stem a different way so that it doesn't bother the
mhm.
So
public.
it doesn't
You know what I
Like-
mean?
so it
inner
doesn't draw
stem on
attention
the
to the
inside
So
cause.
it
instead
doesn't
of the
draw attention to
outside.
him. And then, because I don't really care, to be honest, but I don't want Mama Bear to come out. I'm trying to prevent
Right.
it so that
Because all
Mhm.
it takes is someone to go, oh, what's going on with him?
yes,
Mhm.
yes. And so,
Yep.
I know that is what, and I can even tell just by you're talking through our conversation, that is hard when you're trying to figure out how to regulate so that you're basically trying to protect it from everybody else. And
Yep.
but it's something that felt good for him. He needed to do that. He was excited. He was happy, you know.
I have done things as much as like screaming randomly because
Okay.
I feel like it has to come out.
Okay.
When I get excited, and for me it's bridges. I love bridges.
Oh, okay.
You mean like
Um,
driving across them or seeing
So
them or?
my husband and I took a road trip one time and we found ourselves in like the Chesapeake Bay area.
Okay.
And there is an underwater bridge tunnel type deal. And it's like a few miles long. And there's a video of me and I am like, and like my husband was like, are you okay? Obviously, this is prior to me being diagnosed.
Yeah.
And we were only dating for like 2 years at this point. And he's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And I'm like, I love bridges. I love tunnels. I'm like, we're driving underwater. Like, who gets excited like that? Like,
I gotta
those
ask
people
you,
that live there.
what was your husband's response to your diagnosis?
Okay, what do you want me to do with this information?
That's what he said?
That's what he said.
Yeah. They actually, after they had talked to me about the diagnosis, they actually brought my whole family in. And so they brought me, my husband, and my 3 kids. Obviously, my 3 kids had no idea what was going on.
Right.
You're just
right.
your
But my
mom to
husband's
them, no
like,
matter what.
okay, so what do I do to help you? What do I need to help you? Or
Oh, I see.
you okay? Or do you need a medicine now? Or now the other thing is that I am extremely sensitive to medications.
Oh,
extremely.
Okay. Okay.
okay.
I had postpartum anxiety with all three of my kids.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
It manifested in different ways. My middle child, I can remember it very vividly. I didn't want to put him down ever, ever, ever.
Okay.
If somebody would say, "Oh, let me hold him," no, he's sleeping, he's feeding. I breastfed him for 13 months,
Okay.
and I was just like, "No, I'm fine. I'll just hold him." So it was just one of those things like, okay, well, then what do I do? So I can tell you, I was tracking how often I was feeding him. I had him latched on 26 times in one day because I didn't want someone to hold my kid.
Wow.
Okay.
And
That was,
he is my special middle child. He knows, I feel like I'm raising myself in that kid.
Oh, okay.
And that's what I fear the most.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
There are times where I'll put something on him and he's like, "No, Mom, I'm not wearing this." And I want to ask the question, like, why? But I'm like, I'll let him tell me when he's ready. I'll just wait it out.
Okay.
Because I can he likes to wear onesies. Especially, he's got a Pikachu one and he's got a Yoda one. I've always liked wearing onesies.
Well, and there are adult onesies, so you certainly can.
Oh, trust me, I know all about it.
Marianne, what advice would you give to another adult who may be listening or watching this and they're thinking, I do that. I feel that way.
Honestly say, even if you do get diagnosed, it doesn't have to change your life.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
If you have come this far, I mean, I only got diagnosed in 2021. 2022. When I was 31 years old. I'll be 33 in a month.
Okay.
And when I got diagnosed, it didn't change my life. It just reassured me that I was different in my own way.
And now you knew why.
And now you knew why. And now you knew why.
Okay. I always felt like I had a sixth sense, which went back to the whole thing with my dad. And I'm able to really vividly picture things in my mind. And that's just something that I am assuming goes with this. I can feel, say you're petting a dog, right? You know, sometimes there's like that one spot you want to scratch and they want you to scratch there. I can picture how that feeling feels. And so I go to the spots on the dog that I would like if I was a dog.
That is different.
You know,
that is different.
And it's not even just dogs, it's cats, it's different animals. I mean, even just a different hug from a different person.
Yeah.
I can go up to somebody and rub their back a certain way. And it's the way that I would have wanted to be comforted in that way.
Yeah, it's like almost being hyper compassionate.
I will tell you I am. I am a very compassionate person. You had asked me what my superpower was.
And we're going to ask you again, as we're wrapping up. What is your superpower? I'm telling you,
it has
went
had
right
me
into it.
it had me in a mind pickle. I have been going back and forth and I'm like, what am I actually good at? And I mean, I'm pretty good at bullshitting my way through like a school assignment or something. But
what do you know that you're just like exceptional at? Like nobody else does this the way you do.
It's being compassionate. I will say, I don't have any other superpower than to being in tune with people.
Yeah. That's a really good one to have.
And that's a really good one. And I definitely seen that just by you telling us the story with your father.
Yeah.
Because
Absolutely.
especially at your age, to know, hey, something, because you know how teenagers are. They just ain't not
Typically
tuned
that
in.
they're
They
into
tuned in
themselves.
themselves,
Yeah.
and that's it. To be
No.
that
And
tuned in.
that's actually something that I it's taken me 17 years to figure out
Okay.
that in those 17 years, I've never thought about what the last words were that I said to my dad. They were, hold on. The last thing I did with my dad was I checked his blood sugar. The last thing my dad did for me was pick me up from school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All he needed from me was to be at his side when he needed me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was where I neglected him. And I can't put that on myself because I was a teenager
Yeah.
and I didn't know.
No.
Yeah.
But I will say, if there is anybody that tells me that they lost their father, I can feel that person. I can feel it. I can feel it. I can talk to them and play it through with them. I mean, it's taken me a long time to be able to talk through the situation and how it happened.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it is crazy how I can resonate with so many people on so many different things. I mean, I was a daddy's girl. There's no doubt about that. He and I had secrets from my mom. Unfortunately, he saw some stuff that he shouldn't have, and I was a teenager.
Yeah.
I was a teenager. And over the years, it's been like, I don't think my dad would have been able to handle me now. He would have been like, what are you talking about? I don't think my dad would have fit into this world that we're in right now, unfortunately. And it seems like my dad's time was just done.
Yeah.
I cannot picture him at all using a smartphone. He had a Nextel. He had a Nextel. He had a Nextel flip phone. It was yellow and black because he didn't care about the color.
Okay.
Now we're worried about what color our AirPods are and all this. If he could see that I was videoing you like this, he'd be like, who are you talking to?
That's funny.
So
that is so funny.
But I mean,
yeah,
that the only thing that I can say is my superpower is definitely being with people.
For sure. We could tell that from the minute we met you. We really could.
And to be honest, the only thing that drew me to your table was the fact that there was a book. And I'm not a person that reads. I cannot comprehend anything for the life of me. And so I just really like supporting small authors. I've always been that person that supports small things.
Yeah.
And that's all it was. And so I saw the artwork right there. I saw the book right there. And I was just like, oh my gosh. And then when you said it was about being on the spectrum, I'm like, yeah, I belong there now.
Yeah, that just opened up the whole thing. Well, we are so glad that you stopped at the table, and we're so glad that you joined us on our show today.
Oh my gosh. If there was anything that I could tell you guys, it's just how honored I am to even be on this show, because it doesn't feel like there's a place in the world for me.
Yeah.
But I belong here.
With us. You got a place with us.
I belong here.
Amen.
And it's a tremendous feeling to know that I have a gift of autism that hinders other people, but I'm able to get through it. It is incredible.
It makes you that much more beautiful.
Thank you. I appreciate that, honestly, because
it makes you authentic. And frankly, I won't speak for Mia, but it drew me to you. It really did.
Absolutely.
It really
Absolutely. I mean,
did.
and that's the thing is I've always been, my mom and I have always said that I'm honest to a fault.
Hmm.
And that's because I don't know how to actually fake it.
Well, we need more
Other than a
authenticity in
mask.
the world. So,
Yeah, we need more.
so we're glad you're with us. So
Absolutely.
we're gonna have to close out for now, but you know, we're likely to have you back.
I am
Yeah.
so happy. I would be honored to come back, honestly.
Definitely
And
likely to have you back. And we'll
I
just say,
definitely, most certainly want to meet Neo because I
oh,
have
for
such a
sure.
big hug for him.
Oh, he's going for you too.
Oh my gosh, I could squeeze somebody and they're just like, what's this? It's my hug. It's just a power hug. So,
Wow.
and I appreciate you guys honestly for
Oh,
reaching out
absolutely.
and having me. This has been a tremendous gift for me
Well, thank
to
you.
speak on this.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
And we'll say again, if you're watching viewers on our YouTube channel and you enjoyed this, give us a thumbs up and then share this with some people. You know,
Absolutely.
we need more of this authenticity and this pure joy that you have, Marianne. So
Absolutely. Thank you.
joining us. Again, this is the Superpower Radio Show. I'm Brenda Major with Marianne Nagl and
Mia Dawson.
there you go, my co-host.
Thank you
Got
guys.
overwhelmed. All right.
All right.
See you next time.
Bye.